Okay, well, hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are in this wonderful world. It is absolutely fabulous to have you here today. My name is Claire DeMarco. I'm the director for the Center for Teaching and Learning at NCU, North Central University, soon to be merged with National University on November 1st. I'm just going to throw that out there just in case anyone didn't get the memo on that one. So glad to have you here, and couple of housekeeping items before we kick things off. We absolutely love and encourage questions, and there's a couple of ways you can ask questions. There's the Q&A and there is the chat. Both are fine, but the Q&A tends to be a little easier for us to make sure that your question gets answered. So feel free to use both. And if you just want to make comments or chat with fellow attendees, you can also use the chat feature for that as well. In addition, we are recording this, so if you want to check it out later or want to refer it to someone else who couldn't make it today, I know everyone's got busy schedules, which is why we record these webinars. We do put them up on our CTL YouTube channel, which is linked from our Center for Teaching and Learning, so definitely available for later viewing. But I think that's it for our housekeeping items for today. So on that note, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hedgepeth, our NCU alum, who's here today to present on Evading the Digital Predators, Eat or Be Eaten. So Dr. Hedgepeth, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Clara. I greatly appreciate you. And hello, everyone. As I am Dr. Samantha Hedgepeth, and as Claire said, I am an alum, a proud alum of NCU. So today we will be sharing empirical data, my real life experiences with digital predators, and sharing how I have learned to evade their games and gimmicks to the best of my ability. So the digital age has enabled us to connect with others near and far, known and unknown, faster and more than ever before. Since September, for example, since September 14, 2010, I have facilitated an In Loving Memory album for my high school. Through this album, other alum get updated on deceased classmates, and in some cases, when the information has been submitted quickly, other people are able to attend the funeral of an old friend. You can market events. I'm on the board of directors for Dress for Success, Hampton Roads, and we just had our Little Black Dress event, but we did ticket sales on Facebook. I also put it out there on LinkedIn and also on Instagram. So you can always market events and draw attention to, your charity fundraisers and things of that nature. Also, too, if you just attend social events, I attended the Sade concert and took pictures of the entire program several years ago when she toured. I think that was in, 2010. And she doesn't tour often, so that was a big deal. No, 2011, it's right there on the program. And it was a huge deal because she does not tour often, and she was here in the States. So you can share those type things. You can share recipes, and you can share the success of your family members and vacations and things of that nature. So there's just lots of positive aspects in using social media as a tool. But the digital age, unfortunately, has also opened up the dark side for unsavory predators to deceive the innocent and to rob those still believing in goodwill and helping others. The Federal Trade Commission reports that social media is a gold mine for scammers in 2021. The FTC also reports that fraud originating over social media soared over 5 years, and that more than 95,000 people reported about 770 million in losses to fraud initiated on social media platforms in 2021. My goodness. So let's look at how the scammers approach, because a lot of times they will use an approach that can, seem like they know you, but they really don't. So let's take a look at some of those approaches. And I've screenshotted I did some screenshots from my DMs, from my inbox on my social media platforms. So scam approaches, let's take a look at some of these. Oh, congratulations to me, like they're talking to me. Just bought a new car, another bigger one. I am so grateful about Bitcoin mining is the true way of life. Now that Bitcoin mining, as soon as I see a profile, because I do assess profiles when they send me friend invites, I do not accept it. It's a bunch of garbage. If you're going to invest in Bitcoins, I would not do it through anyone over social media. I would, TD Ameritrade or some other professional service where you can consult with a professional. But that Bitcoin piece is very popular right now. And they would just flood your news feed with a bunch of junk. Here's the one, they weren't even proper. They were like, yo, drop your Cash App tag now for a blessing. I feel generous. So that Cash App one is very, very popular right now. Where they're asking for people's Cash App. I'll send you 5,000. I'll send you $1,500. So this one here in the middle where it says, I'll have it exclusively designed for $40. I didn't put the whole conversation here, but they wanted my Cash App. They wanted me to Cash App them $40 to take a photo of me and turn it into what would look like an oil painting or a portrait of me. And I had gotten many of these over a certain period of time. And so what they do really, I don't know if they ever send you the photo, but I do know that it's an app. You can get an app to do that. So it's not like they have to put any work into it. But scammers, they're always capitalizing on anything. So I declined the service, and there was one person who just kept inboxing me, asking me to do it. You never send anyone your Cash App ID. This is another one where they just simply said hello and then sent me a meme that says, DM me now with your Cash App tag and receive $1,500 immediately in less than 1 hour without paying any fees. If anything seems too good to be true, it is definitely too true. This one is another one. Hello. Hey, WYD, which is what you're doing. DM me with your Cash App tag or your PayPal address or your Western Union. Let me help you with $1,500. A new company is trying to go and they are doing a giveaway. Blah, 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 blah. Give no one your information that they're asking for. This one is, yo, what's up? How you doing today? Did you see the post on my page? So when I saw this, when I actually went to that person's page and it was another post about send me your Cash App, feeling generous, I'll send you $5,000 type thing. Send me your Cash App tag. Of course, I did not. I just blocked the person. And this one is also another really big scam out there. So let me read a little bit of this one. And as you can see, this is from September 21, 2017. It says the Worldwide Grant Department, I got $150,000 cash delivered to my doorstep by FedEx Express. The money is from the federal government to help and develop the paying for bills, buying a home, starting their own business, going to school, blah, 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 blah. Did you get your money delivered yet? I replied, because I knew it was a scam just to see what they were going to say. I replied, no, I didn't. Then they say, really? But I saw your name on the grant list when the FedEx arrived to my house to deliver my money to me. Thought you heard about them earlier, because your name was on the list when they arrived. Really? My name was on the grant list. Okay. Government, but the government hasn't contacted me. No, and no, thank you. So there's a lot of things out there that are just hilarious. They don't really have your information. Never let someone panic you, saying they have your information. You just need to do X, Y, Z. And they're just really asking for the information they need to really hack into your bank account or to your Cash App. They can hack into your Cash App these days. And so you don't want to give them any information that they're asking for. You really want to fully utilize the block and delete feature in your settings. How about that? So people are just so devious that they set up these fake accounts, and you'll hear people say, oh, I've been hacked. Oh, I've been hacked. But people really don't have to hack you to duplicate an account. They only have to download or screenshot a photo from your profile or from your wall. And then they'll just go and open up a whole nother fake account. So someone opened up a fake account for my ex-husband. Do you hear me? They opened up a fake account for my ex-husband. And because he's not really social media savvy, he's not really on there a lot. They went right to his friends list and invited family and friends. And I saw family and friends accepting the invite because it shows you mutual friends when you're friends with someone on social media. So it'll show you who you have mutually with them. And just people just accepting. But if you look closely, they misspelled the last name by adding on an extra letter. That's also like one of the first red flags is the misspelled name in the profile. They'll add on extra underscores. Well, they'll add on extra underscores. They'll add on extra letters. The name will be a little misspelled, or they'll put a bunch of, dots in between. Just anything that catches your attention, don't take for granted, oh yeah, that really was my cousin and he just misspelled his name. No, you need to call your cousin, or if it's someone that you really know personally, and say, hey, did you just set up another profile on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, whatever it is, but just investigate it. So let's look at how they are approaching me and not even realizing it was my ex-husband. So they say, hello, how are you doing? And I said, and so let me see, how are you doing? And it says, I'm fine and very happy. This is that person. This is not me, though. I had not responded. You can see there's no response from me yet. But this person is saying, I am fine and very happy for my life. Now the government changed my life for good. Guess what? I got a sum of $30,000 from the government. They are helping the working age, retired, disabled, and old in the community with cash. And I'm like, no, this is just ridiculous. So I just wanted to see what they were going to say. And I responded, how? And then they said, I applied for it online and I have already received my money delivered to me. No paying back on it because it's free money for personal uses. See, there's a theme there, always with the free. Then they sent me this telephone number, which is probably a Google number. And if you don't know what a Google number is, it's a digital phone number that Google can link to your cell phone. And at will, you can just delete it and it's not usable. So they have, so it's not legit just because they send you a phone number. I've seen this too many times in my DMs. So he said, text the online agent through the above mobile number and tell him you want to apply for the ongoing grant program. So I go along with it. I said, nice. What's the website address where you applied? I want to check it out. Then they replied, text the online agent through the above mobile number. Now, they just said in the previous comment that they applied online, but yet they can't give me a website when I ask them to give me a website. So make sure you are very inquisitive to these people. I never even responded again. I just didn't even worry about it. It's just sitting there in my DM so that I could use it for this webinar. Okay, so I want to ask you to please use your privacy settings. Some people don't venture into their privacy settings, but it's represented by the gear icon, and they work perfectly. I have my privacy setting that only friends of friends can send me a friend request on Facebook. The general public cannot send me a friend request. So I have quite a few messages in my messenger of people trying to reach out to me that cannot otherwise because I have changed my settings. I just ignore those communications if I choose to. only I can see my friends list. So one of the first lines of defense is to hide your friends list. It's very easy to do. At the end of this presentation, I will provide an email address. I did make a small guide on how to do your hide your friends list. If you want to know, I can email that to you, no problem. But it's also there in your settings, and you can use your help feature to find that. So only I can see my friends list on Facebook, so that the scammers have resulted, like I said, to either messaging me in Messenger, or like you see here on the screen, they will take a public post that I have made that's open to the public, and then they will leave a comment. Hello, I'm really much impressed with your profile and personality. I also admire your good sense of humor on here. I don't normally write in the comment section, but I think you deserve this compliment. I tried sending you a friend request, but it was not responding. I'll like to be your friend if you don't mind sending me a friend request. Now, this was June of this year, June 22nd of this year. So they noticed that they cannot send me a friend request because I use that privacy setting. So here is, if you look over to the next one, this is actually from April 5, 2017, and it still has some of the same themes. I always enjoy what you share here on Facebook, but we're not friends yet. I have tried several times to send you a friend request, but it's not going through. I'll be so glad if you can just click into my profile and send me a friend request. But if you find this message embarrassing, please pardon my manners. Thanks, best wishes. So I've seen these type messages multiple times on different public posts that I make. And because I do something like an in loving memory album, and some things because I'm trying to reach a broader audience, I do have some public posts on my walls. But I've seen the same themes. They're like, I can't send you a friend request. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, I love what you post, blah, 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 blah. It is not that serious. So you guys just pay attention to those. When I get those type posts on my public post, I just immediately delete them. I just immediately go in, right click on it and delete it off of my stuff. I don't want that on there. So that was Facebook. And so all of these accounts that you see here were people who were claiming to be legitimate on Instagram. These are screenshots from my DM on Instagram. So currently on Instagram, I have over 60 friend requests in queue waiting for me to respond to them. And they're just sitting there. I'm not pressed. And because I do not have a crystal ball, of course, over the years, I have let some profiles into my world that were not legit before I learned some of these lessons. But as you can see, the scammers eventually shut down their profiles. And this is what the profile looks like in my DMs now. The profile pic and name is gone. When I click on these profiles, I now get this message. You know, if you are not sure about an account, just let it sit. Just let it sit. On Instagram, this is how it will show up. Let me go back so you can see it again. It'll just say Instagram, you know, user, no profile pic. Once they have disabled the account, then you're not able to see it. You'll get this message that says, sorry, this page isn't available. And I know there was one profile in particular earlier this year. The profile, it was a Black gentleman, you know, had lots of Christian stuff on there, all these memes about loving the Lord and all of that. We chatted a little bit in the DMs. And then one day I was saying to myself, okay, the jig is up. Let me just let him know. I know he's a scammer. And that's exactly what I inboxed him. I was like, okay, I'm blocking you. You're a scammer. And then a few days later, when I went back on Instagram, the picture was of a Caucasian man with army fatigues on. And when I checked the profile wall, he had taken down all of the other pictures and put up this gentleman with his, looks like what could be his two daughters. And so, and I said, that is so sad that they are parading and just misusing other people's lives. They had all these pictures of these two beautiful little girls, and this man in his army fatigues. And then guess what? I just checked the profile this week, and now it's back to a whole different picture of an African-American man, different memes, blah, 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 blah. So they have not deactivated that account, but they are still misusing it with other people's lives. Again, if you're not sure about an account, just let it sit. Just let it sit. So, so oftentimes I will look at the ratio of post to the amount of the people they are following. And let me see if I can get this laser pointer here. Okay, so oftentimes, and this is on Instagram. So see, this account has 5 posts, but following over 7,000 people. They are not living an Instagram life, because Instagram is all about pictures, right? About sharing your pictures and pictures and pictures and more pictures. 5 posts, following over 7,000 people. That is someone who is peering into other people's lives. They are shopping other people's lives. And so like this other one, they have 60 posts, but I'm not impressed because they are following over 4,000 people. And so this account may be a few years old, maybe, where they've added a couple of posts here and there. And usually when you look at their wall, if it's public, you'll see a lot of times the meme, it's just a bunch. I've seen some profiles where it's just a bunch of memes. There's no personal life, no personal flavor on the page. So just, I oftentimes look at this, and as soon as I see disparity like this, because I think I have over, maybe 1,500 or 2,000 followers on Instagram, but I have like 200, maybe 300 posts or whatever it is. You know, I have a lot of posts, and oftentimes you'll see that when people are living, you know, they have a life, they're sharing their own lives. So I just wanted to tell you, look at that ratio, and that's an indicator, that's a red flag. You know, then assess as I was saying before, assess the content of their post to decide whether that information is something you want in your news feed. A lot of time, especially with the Bitcoin rash, it's just a bunch of garbly goop, you know, pictures of graphs and pictures of a bunch of money and a promise that you can make a bunch of money overnight. You know, sometimes the scammer will even take a few pictures and keep reposting them to make it seem like they have, a lot on their wall, you know, filler for volume. You can also check the dates that they posted their pics. That's also available. Facebook, you can always see there's a timestamp, a date stamp. I have seen it where a profile populated 30 plus pics within 17 hours. So that was a very fake account, because that's when the account was first opened 17 hours ago. So you're going to tell me you sat there and uploaded 30 plus pictures, trying to make it seem like you've had a seasoned life in that profile. And most times, if people don't look at that detail, they don't catch it, that this is a fake account. So you can, when I say assess their account, look at how many people they're following, how many posts they have. Look at some of the dates, just not maybe all of them, but just scroll and look at some of the dates on their post. And if you see a pattern of they just populated all of these pictures, you know, in the last 8 hours or last 24 hours, it's, oh, please, just delete it, just block them. The person is just trying to quickly look legit when they do that. Depending upon their privacy settings, you may or may not be able to see their wall on Facebook or Instagram. So some of the scammers are getting pretty smart and using the privacy features against us, the innocent public. Usually, if I really want to know and am considering an invite to accept it, I will write down the name of the profile. I will accept, on a sticky, and then I will accept their invite. And then just as I'm using my computer throughout the week, when I see the sticky in the next couple of days, I'll check the account to see if they have allowed me in. Once in, I assess their wall and their content. I either leave them in my friends list if their content is acceptable, if it looks like they're legit, or I'll unfriend the profile. If their content is really rude or obscene, I will block them. Okay, so do you want to eat or be eaten? Remember the numbers. Remember that stat earlier. There's over 95,000 people just in 2021 alone that were taken advantage of, to the tune of $770,000, 70 million, I'm sorry, $70 million. That's a lot of money. I've seen, the elderly. Of course, they prey on the elderly and they target our children because they're considered maybe the most vulnerable in our society. You can proactively, offensively, or if you want to say on defense, do a few things as mentioned in this presentation to protect you. Okay, I'm a little bit frozen here. Go back. I do apologize. For some reason, it's...
Yeah, sometimes the Zoom connection has some issues, but there we are. We've got the proactive screen now.
Yes. So let's be proactive. Let's maximize your privacy features. Just stroll through them when you have time to see what is available to you. Assess the profiles you are accepting into your world. We have reviewed some of the telltale signs of the scammers, but you want to proactively prevent them peering into your lives. Do all that you can do to be not to be a part of those statistics that we talked about earlier. Again, assess those profiles, use your privacy features, use the delete and block feature fluidly. At first, because I'm one of those people, I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be rude. But then I was becoming victim just to a bunch of garbage coming into my inbox. So you're not being rude. Just hit delete or block. You're not being rude. If you all like, I'm going to open it up for questions and answers, but if you all like, I can most definitely go into my Facebook or my Instagram and we can go through the settings so that I can show you actually what some of my settings are to protect me. So I will hand it over to you, Claire.
All right. Thank you so much. Very interesting. It's an intriguing topic. All right. Well, we have both the Q&A and the chat open for questions if anybody has anything to ask. But I actually had a question of my own, if that's okay.
Sure.
I'm curious about your thoughts around romance scammers. So I've always wondered, I think some victims of romance scammers legitimately believe that this is real. Mm-hmm. But I wonder if others, it's more of a hope that it's real. I mean, what are your thoughts around that? Because sometimes you think, how could anyone fall for that? But
yeah, I know. And I guess it really depends on the degree of hope in that person. Let's just say, okay, so my daughters, I have two daughters, and they would like for me to date or whatever, and they, Mom, get on the app or answer some of your DMs. Of course, they don't, want anything to happen to me or anything, but I have had a little bit of experience with that. And so, the account that I told you about where it was at one point an African-American man, then it turned over to a Caucasian man and showed him and his daughters. So that was one I actually, I just said, hello, how are you? And I found that to be very interesting. It was kind of a training module, so to speak. And so just in talking with that person, they just are constantly trying to, what I call, love bomb you, or just tell you how beautiful you are and overwhelm you with compliments. But if you really, really start talking to that person, there's no substance. There's absolutely no substance to them. So, and there's telltale signs of that. If they're just repeating the same thing. Okay, you've already told me I'm beautiful. Next. Okay, next. What else? Say something different. If you find that they're just repeating, and I have found out a lot of times, and I don't know if they were scammers or if they were really looking for romance, because sometimes I feel, my opinion, guys can be Neanderthalish, but I found a barrage of men profiles inboxing me and saying, hey, where do you live? Where do you live? Or where do you work? And I would just email them back and say, why are you asking? And then they would reply back, where do you live? So I don't know how people can get a comfort level with the online dating piece. I just find it a bit unnerving, to be honest. So it's just not my forte. I've experienced a few things, and it's just, you don't know who to trust. I never felt a level of comfort with any of the profiles at all, because the first thing they want to know is, where do you live? So one of them, I replied, East Coast. And then he was like, no, seriously, where do you live and work? Saying to myself, really? Are you into human trafficking? That's what I was saying in my head. Why would I tell you that? And I said, why do you want to know? And then they replied back, where do you live? So when you see that constant repeating, that is a red flag that it's probably a scammer, or you really don't want to get hooked up with someone who's into human trafficking.
Yeah, that does sound scary, to just constantly be asking where do you
live?
Yeah, that's intimidating for sure. We have
and another one. I'm sorry, Claire, let me add this on. I saw a bad rash of people saying, you're beautiful, they're interested, and this was on a dating app, but there is a horrible rash of them saying that they are engineers. I've seen that over the years, where they say, oh, I'm an engineer on an oil rig. But a new one that I've seen pop up in the last 2 years, yeah, I'm from Norway, but I really live in Florida, getting ready to move in New York. So Norway is like another buzzword these days. But engineers, yes, Kamoy, engineers, doctors. This week I just had what looked like an airline pilot inbox me. All of that is very dangerous, because they're using other people's profiles and pictures and life. And there was one guy, he was this one guy, and he inboxed me on LinkedIn. He was using this lieutenant general in the Army, was using his life. And I looked closely at the picture and saw where he changed the name on the name tag. And then I inboxed that person back and I said, I am going to report you to the Army. I am going to report you that you are using this gentleman's information. And I never heard from that profile again.
Yeah, it's scary how they they know how to manipulate so well, but using these positions that we often associate with, intelligence, ethics, those types of things,
And they always try to pull on your emotions. I've heard the story, oh yeah, my wife died 3 years ago and I have a small child. Always looking to pull on your heartstrings. So as soon as they say, oh, I'm an engineer on an oil rig, my wife just died 5 years ago. One guy was like 14 years ago. My daughter, she's, I need a mom for my daughter. And I'm saying to myself, now you've told me your daughter is 18 and you're looking for a mom for your daughter. So I found it humorous. So I kept talking with him. And then he said, yeah, well, I'm an engineer on an oil rig. I was like, oh, block.
Absolutely.
Block.
Kaboy brought up a great point that another thing is those spelling errors are usually a really good sign
Yes.
they're probably, messaging 20 people at the same time, or perhaps,
Exactly.
maybe abroad or whatnot. We do have a couple of
Yeah.
questions. John asks, can you speak to Facebook's data breach? How can we protect ourselves from the platforms we use when they aren't careful with our personal information?
I know. And that's why you have to use the tools that they've provided for you. Can you see my screen where I'm in my Facebook account in the privacy settings? Do you see that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, excellent. That's why you have to maximize the features that are available to you. If you go to my profile, you do not see where I grew up. You do not see, if you see my birthday, I hid the year. So you can just see the month and the day, and usually then my friends know to message me happy birthday on my birthday, but you do not see the year. I have removed all of my education because I have noticed with duplicate accounts, all they do is just go through your information and duplicate it. They put it on the new fake account, but we provide that information. And unfortunately, because social media is set up to have fun. Like I said, I do a lot of things on it. I use it as a tool to reach people, but unfortunately, we can't just put ourselves out there anymore. So who can see any of my future posts? I put friends only. I used to have friends of friends, but I've just narrowed it down. So Facebook cannot contain, the violations, but we can only use what they've provided for us as best we can. So I've in my profile, you cannot see any personal information. I've removed my education. I've even removed where I went to high school. Everything about me. Who can see? Let's see here. Only me. Who can see the people, pages, and list that I follow? See, people really don't think about that people can see who you follow. So a real creeper, they can get a hold of your life really easily now. A stalker back in the day had to do their homework, had to follow you and all of this and that. But now all they have to do is befriend you on social media. And all the algorithms and all the information that we put in is giving everybody all the information they need. People can even Google and show up right at our doors and Google our address. So I put that only me, only I can see the pages I follow. Who can send me friend requests? Friends of friends. It is no longer public. Remember, I showed you all that slide where, they're now putting on my public post, in the comments, hey, send me a friend invite. One time I saw a guy post something similar verbiage that I shared with you earlier. He posted that on my public post. Then the profile of an elderly lady, he must have been communicating with her because then she went in my comments, which means she was following who he's following. Because he offered me a glass to meet with for a glass of wine or something like that. And then she posted in my comments, well, where's my wine? You didn't offer me wine. And I said, okay, here's the follower being followed. It was so creepy. I blocked both of them, deleted their comments off of my post. But you have to use the tools that are here for you. Who can see your friends list? See this, people? Only me. Only me can see my friends list. Because when people set up these fake profiles, they know exactly who to go and invite. All they do is go to your page and look at your friends list. So, like for my ex-husband, or I've had some cousins had their pages duplicated, but their friends list was public. So that's why I say go through here and see how you can protect yourselves. Who can look you up using the email address you provided? I put friends only. I didn't even put friends of friends. Who can look you up using the phone number you provided? My friends only. Do you want search engines outside of Facebook to link your profile? No, don't link anything for me. Don't know. If I want it, you can change it at any time if you do want that. And so Potential connections. I have my chat turned off because too many people that I didn't know, every time they saw I was online, they were dinging me. So but that's just a personal preference. I have my chat turned off. Accounts you follow or have chatted with. See, I have my Instagram and my Facebook linked. But I don't use the chats on either one. I have this feature turned off on both. So I really do implore, and then here's a list. Let's see, there's a restricted list. So you can, if you're suspect of people, like you want to invite someone in or accept their friend's request, but you can manage how you restrict their view of your page. But that means that you would have to categorize each post. So if I had a post and I made it restricted, then the restricted people that I tagged their profile as restricted, they can see that restricted post, but they can't see my other post that I label it friends of friends, or, they could see public posts probably, but they wouldn't be able to see all of my posts. And see, that's getting down to a fine hair. So I don't have all of my people. I'm a few shy of 3,000 in my Facebook. And so I was like, I am not going through and sorting these people into different categories, but you do have the option. You do have the option. If someone says something negative to you on Facebook, you have the option to block and delete. You block and delete pages, because I have had pages tag me in to obscenity. They don't let it sit there on Facebook very long, but people, once they see your name or whatever, then they tag you into some stuff you don't even want to be in. So learn that block feature very quickly. And it's just here in the settings. Are there any other questions, Claire?
Yes, we have a question about identity theft. I think we've talked quite a bit about, I think scammers looking for just hard cash. But how often are these scammers looking to steal identities?
Oh, all the time, every day. As soon as I see a duplicate profile of people I know, I will inbox them. If I know them personally, I will text them and send them a screenshot. And I'll say, hey, did you open up another profile? If not, then that tells me how to manage that. But identity theft is going on every day. And here, as I shared with you, Claire, I am a librarian at a middle school. And the theme this month to teach in the library, we've been talking about identity theft and digital citizenship. So it's not, all the onus is not on the bad guy. We have to do our part, as I've been sharing with the children. We have to do our part to protect ourselves. So you go into these settings and you set them up. You do, of course, every adult knows don't share your passwords, but you don't let just anyone into your world. Be very protective of your world, because people are stealing identities. They don't have to hack your account in order to take your pictures. That's just a screenshot. Really, people are like, oh, I've been hacked. No, now you've been hacked if they have gone in and changed the password and you can't get into your original account. Yeah, then most likely you have been hacked. And what some of these people who are duplicating and stealing identities, they are doing it on such a smart level that they will set up the fake account and then they will block you so that you cannot see the fake account. And how I learned that is that I was doing marketing for a particular person. And so when I went into their account, I did not see this extra account with their name and picture. But when I logged into my account, that's when I saw the extra account. And so now they're even blocking the person so that you can't see that they've stolen your identity. So the onus is really on you to protect you and to protect your identity as much as possible. So just make sure you take all that extra information off, even though you'd love to share it. Just take all of that, your education, where you grew up, take all of that off your profile and hide your profile. The only thing that you can probably see on my profile is I have a political statement, in God we trust, and that might have something like that, but it's very general. And I have turned off the feature of showing my location. So and by the time, like say if I'm out for dinner and I've had a delicious meal and I take a picture of it, when I post that picture of my meal, I'm already walking out the restaurant door. I've eaten the meal is gone, because if someone were to come to that restaurant and look for me and I'm still sitting there eating, no, that's very uncomfortable. And it's unfortunate that we have to think of those scenarios. So sometimes I'll post a picture of where I've been, but it'll be when I'm on my way out the door as a protective measure. Or just turn the location off so when you post, it doesn't automatically show, that you're at the beach. Totally and fully use the features in your privacy and privacy settings.
It sounds like in the virtual world, it's best to be more on the cynical, sort of imagine the worst.
Yes.
That way you're completely protected in as much as you can be. We do have a question from Greg. One, is there a way to delete your Facebook account? I think if you just had enough, or it completely private. I think that was some of those settings you were showing earlier.
Mm-hmm. There is, let's see, profile and tagging. You can delete your Facebook account, but from time to time, I have deactivated it. So if you don't want to completely delete anything, but you just want to go ghost for a season, you can deactivate your account. And then the way it will reactivate is when you sign back into it. Let's see, often I have to, let me see, who can post on your profile? Only me. Oh, that's another feature too. When only allow you to post on your profile. Well, at least that's what I do. So no one will post anything obscene. Let me see if I can remember to show you where you would deactivate your account. I have not done that in many years. There's a name, add an account, identity, confirm your identity, security and log in. It is in here. So if you email me, I'll find that feature for you and email you the steps on how to deactivate your account. And I'm sure there's the option to delete it also.
Yeah, I know they don't like to make it too easy for you, because obviously the more users there are, the more money Facebook makes. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely.
But you can definitely deactivate it.
Yeah, I didn't know about that feature. That's actually a really nice way to say, hey, I just need a break.
Yep.
I just need a month away from this. I don't want to worry about what's going on. Yeah.
Yep. And people will not be able to search you. You will not show up at all on the social media if you deactivate it.
Yeah, that's a really nice feature. So is there a way to reset password? Another question from Greg. I'm guessing Greg's not logged into their Facebook for a while, so doesn't know their password. That's me too, Greg. I'm terrible with my passwords. Is there a way to reset it? I think there is. If you go to log in, there's an option that you've forgot your password.
There is. There's always that little blue link. But if you are trying to reset it from within your account while you're logged in, again, you go to settings. Here is security and login. And then right down here is change password. I don't know if you see my little cursor, but change password. Yep. So, but yes, people, you have to be proactive on protecting yourself, because Facebook can't do it all for you. They just can't.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned the LinkedIn, really anything online, be wary, even if it.
Yes, because someone on LinkedIn.
Social media, yeah.
Yeah, even LinkedIn, especially. And you would think no, because it's business, but a criminal, a scammer will capitalize on the fact. And so don't have a false sense of security on LinkedIn, because again, someone had set up a fake account, my ex-husband. They sent me an invite. I knew it was a fake account, because he will not just say hello. Someone you've been knowing for more than half your life, they're not just going to inbox you hello. They're going to say, hey, call you by the nickname you're known by or whatever, it'll be personable. So if you feel like it's a cold greeting, it's most likely it's not that person. And then again, I screenshot it, sent it to him like I've done many people, screenshot it and say, hey, is this you? And then sometimes I'll go back to the scammer and I'll say, I know this is a scammer. This is not the person, blah, 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 whatever I tell them. And then I block them. Like in your face kind of thing.
It's nice to mess with them a little bit, give them a little
It
taste of their own
is.
medicine, make their day a little negative if you can.
Exactly. And I learned from them when I mess with them a little bit. That's why they're like, did you hear about the government money? I'm like, no, what is it? I've heard it about 30, 40 times already. So
That's hilarious. Yeah, someone's just going to give you a big old chunk of money.
exactly. But I learned from just talking to them because you'll get them going and then they think they've got you on the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I just block them.
Yeah, have a little
That's
fun
how
with
I
them.
learned.
Hey, if you're messing with them, they can't be messing with someone else. So
That's right.
that's good. Oh, I think we have time for this final question from John. Are you aware of Facebook not sharing posts from all of your friends? Occasionally I see posts from friends wanting me to repost a post, and that supposedly resets Facebook's algorithm to show more friends. I've never done this as it seems sketchy.
I've never done it either.
Yeah.
I do not do it. Anything that they're pushing, I do not bite. I do not bite. I can do it on my own. I don't need you to push it to me and tell me what to do. It's a little scary with this social media that it's almost like people are somewhat herd animals. Whatever the trend is, that's what they do. And you watch them push out commands on social media to do this, try this. And the challenges that are out on social media, to embarrass your grandmother or get your grandmother or your father, just some of the challenges. I'm like, wow, we have got to stop being herd animals and don't do things just because someone is telling us to do it on social media. We've got to really think these things through, and some of the challenges, people have gotten killed. And I'm like, why would you, it's a challenge, but why would you even bite that bait? There are very sadistic, evil people behind some of these challenges. I've seen a challenge like, how much stuff can you steal from the store and hide under your clothes? Well, if you get caught, no one from the challenge is going to rescue you. You're going to get arrested for stealing. Challenges to how you can embarrass your parents and videotape it. Just the whole undercurrent of some of these challenges. And it's scary how people are not thinking about it. So no, I don't do anything that Facebook tells me to do.
Just out of curiosity, have you been brave enough to venture into TikTok yet?
I've been teetering on the border of whether to do that or not, because I know that there's some good to it. Like some of the teachers here, they talk about teacher TikTok and they get some games and things for the children off of TikTok. But just some of the other things, I just have not ventured out into that yet. I've been tempted. I've come so close a couple of nights to open up an account, but I have not done it.
Yeah.
I think it's a landmine.
Highly addictive too. You hear horror stories of people, I've been on TikTok for 6 hours straight, something like that.
I know, but on Instagram, you can catch some of those, same videos, because I'm probably scrolling endlessly on Instagram, and I was like, I just don't need another, place to be scrolling, because I get lost on Instagram watching videos, because there's a lot of good information there. Chiropractors showing you how you can adjust your back. And I love those. I'm following about 4 or 5 people that can show you yoga moves to help adjust your shoulders for sitting for long term. And a lot of good information. It's just that some people use that medium for the bad.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we are just about at time. So we will go ahead and wrap things up. Just a final comment from Kamoy about how, yes, that you can find useful stuff like for school tips and whatnot online, but obviously without going too far. So it's all that self-control, unfortunately.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you again, Dr. Hedgepeth. It's been an absolute pleasure to hear from you. For those attending, this recording should be up in about 24 hours on our YouTube page. So if you'd like to check it out, or you think you have anyone in your life who would benefit, perhaps an individual who's trying to look for love online, it might be beneficial to check out the webinar. But everybody have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you at the next one.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.